Welcome back to Hannity. The Obama administration seems pretty set on hammering out this deal with Iran, but guess what? You, the American people, are not on board. According to a brand new poll released by Fox News, 84% of you said that letting Iran have nuclear weapons in 10 years is a really bad idea. And when asked if the U.S. should take military action to keep Iran from getting nukes, 65% of you said that they were in favor of doing so. So our question is this: is there anything Congress can do to stop this deal? Joining me now with reaction is the chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, Congressman Ed Royce. Congressman, perhaps you can clarify from the last segment. We've seen published reports about the sunset clause, sunset years of this deal, sunset clause, and we've heard from the Prime Minister. I also have my own sources that it's very clear in those out years that they would, in fact, basically have the world's blessing to build a nuclear weapon. What do you have? What do you know? What can you tell us? What
I know, Sean, is that, first of all, the IAEA has 1,000 pages of documents that show the attempt by Iran to develop a nuclear payload. And what I also know is that the IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency, submitted a list of 12 questions for Iran to answer. Iran answered part of the first question and refuses to answer the rest. The other thing I know is that the Ayatollah continues, as late as a week ago, to say death to America, death to Israel, and that regime continues to transfer rockets and missiles both to Hezbollah and to Hamas. 100,000 now to Hezbollah. I saw those rockets going off in 2006 when I was in Haifa. There were 600 people in the trauma hospital as a result.
That's called a proxy war. They've been fighting proxy wars against Israel. They've been a state sponsor of terror, and as the Prime Minister pointed out, they've been wreaking havoc on 5 continents. Here's my question. Regardless of what President Obama may or may not agree to, and I hope he pulls out of this for the sake of the world, and the sake of Israel, and the sake of the United States, and the sake of our children and grandchildren, and nuclear proliferation that would ensue. What can Congress do? Doesn't the President need to go to the Senate to get any treaty approved?
That is my belief, and I will tell you what Congress already tried to do. We passed legislation out of the House of Representatives in the last session that I wrote that would have collapsed the economy of Iran, that would have given the Ayatollah a choice between compromise on his nuclear program or economic collapse. And it was this president that blocked that legislation by telling Harry Reid not to bring it up in the Senate. So in point of fact, Congress is trying to move legislation that would have the ultimate pressure on the regime, and the President of the United States is blocking the types of sanctions that really would force some type of compromise out of the Iranian regime. And this is, for us, the most vexing part of this. This is the point that Netanyahu raised with us. Yes.
Thank you for your clarification. We will stay on it.
Certainly.
I would hate to see this deal as it is described ever happen. Thank you, sir, for what you're doing. Appreciate it. And coming up next.